This video is about gratitude, but gratitude is one of the tools we use for mindset and for perspective. So it really strengthens our belief structure because the neurons are use them or lose them. That's how the neurons work in our mind. So if we are focused on the problematic issue, what happens is we tend to pull the rest of our world into that because what we focus on expands, and because that becomes the neuron that we're using. We're using the neuron that's noticing that kind of problem or other problems. Basically, it leads into others. Whereas when we're using a neuron that is looking at a perspective that is brighter, we're reinforcing that neuron. And so if we have, one good thing going on in our world, and we're focused on that, we're grateful about that, what happens is we tend to pull the rest of our world with us in that direction, in the same way that we would the other way around too. So the way I would begin a gratitude practice that really becomes a part of your life is I would take out a piece of paper, and you try to do this at a peaceful moment. If you can, light a white candle and sit down and do it. But if not, a moment where you're free, maybe your lunch break, maybe you're on a plane, or just a moment where you can sit down and write at the top of your paper 150 things for which I'm grateful, and begin listing them. 150 things. I know that's a lot. And, you might get to a point where you're like, oh my God, what else am I going to, be grateful for? But just, if it comes down to, I love my mug, that goes on the list. I love my mug. I remember doing this exercise when I was in Paris. I had just moved from Paris to New York. From New York to Paris, rather. And I was missing New York so badly. And I was really kind of noticing all the things that were not New York. Basically, New York is super sunny. New York is super, everything's easy. It's just like, and I was just focused on how gray Paris was, how rainy it was, and how everything was so complicated. And I remembered a phase in my life when everything was just flowing and it was when I had just moved from London to New York, and I was writing. I always write. So my journal was just filled with everything that I was grateful for. And they were like, even small things, but I was just so filled with gratitude. And I distinctly remember that phase in my life being a time when it was just like this magical synchronistic moment where every idea I had just manifested. Everybody I needed just showed up. It was just, doors were opening. I was just in the right place at the right time. It was just so flowy and easy. And I think what gratitude does, because once I had, I was in reading mode in Paris. I was just reading, a book a day. And when I came back to remembering that, that space of gratitude is what really allows things to start coming through, I shifted. And just that exercise of those 150 things kind of began the practice again of noticing all the good. And that's exactly how we're rewiring the neurons. We basically started to strengthen the neurons that are focusing on the good. And the more that we focus on the good, it's really as simple as what we appreciates. So you'll begin to see your world filled with that kind of energy. And that is such a beautiful energy to have. So, I would say every day before going to sleep, or maybe first thing in the morning, at some point in your day, just stop and think of a few things that you're grateful for. They don't have to be so many. They can be quite simple. They can be the sunshine. They can be a chance to begin again, a new day, whatever it is. But really take a little moment to sort of put your hand on your heart, or take a deep breath and thank life. Thank you, life. Thank you for this. Thank you for my health. Thank you for all the goodness. And even if it's the same thing you're thanking for every day, it doesn't matter. Just really sit with that energy. You will see how there'll be like a shift in your system, And the amazing thing about gratitude is that it cuts into anxiety, worry, all that energy that is so exhausting to our system. And once we've kind of calmed the system again, we've calmed the amygdala in the mind, basically. What happens is, from that space, from that breath, from that new energy, we have a chance to think, and to think deeper, and come up with strategic, inspired steps that allow us to move forward in the direction of what we want, of what we're wanting to create. And so that is a very different energy from that whole frantic stress energy, which basically can't think strategically and can't think intelligently because it's too encumbered. So gratitude is a great practice to just come back into that space of this moment, of the perfection of this moment, and trusting that we are exactly where we're supposed to be, doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing, with exactly who we're supposed to be with, or without. But basically, we are. This is it. This moment is the moment we have a chance to recreate from and to begin again. And so gratitude is so important for our health, for our well-being, for the energy that we share with the world. I mean, how lovely it is to be with people who are just excited about even the tiniest of things happening. It's just such a lovely energy. So I would recommend, now that we have the neuroscience backing, these kind of things that I'm talking about, energy and intuition and gratitude and so on. I think, we have the underlining to it now from the medical schools and from the science. But I think what's important is that the results will speak for themselves, and the way you feel will be your proof for what works for you, and what feels good energetically, and will show up in terms of results. So it's a win-win.